it a good strategy to buy stabilized single tenant or small shopping centers with financing for fixed income and relatively good cash on cash return? For instance, here in the Dallas area, there are a lot of stabilized properties with national and credit tenants. With financing, I can make a minimum of 7% cash on cash in addition to having a safe investment versus stocks or crypto market. I understand the best investments are the upside potential, but those deals here are hard to find. When I find them, they are very expensive. And just to add on to that, then Dana, JV Dana, she said, yes, in our market in Dallas, the numbers are not making sense at all to put a property under contract. It's overpriced. What should we do?
Yes, very good point. Dallas have really just gone like crazy. And Austin now is following suit. Austin is way out of hand as well right now. So 7% cash on cash is good, but make sure you actually review the lease. I think at the end of the day, it's going to end up being 6%, and time will prove to you I'm right, because by the time you figure closing cost and a couple of things here and there at the end to adjust, it will end up being more around the 6. On your cash on cash, that means that probably the property itself is making probably 5% cap, you're getting it or something. But anyway, just make sure the lease is long enough, like at least 10 years. So it's not like running out of time. Now you have to go find a tenant, because now you're going to have a building, you're going to have payments, you're going to be rushed, and you're going to have issues. So just make sure the lease is, I would say, at least 8 or 9 years if you don't want to go 10 years. That's number one. Number two, make sure you're in a good area with good traffic. So when that tenant tells you, I'm not going to renew, I want to leave, you're able to actually line up another tenant within 90 days or so to replace them. Usually the lease review is the most important thing. And the lease itself is going to tell you, is this a triple net? What in the structure was fixed before? What actually are the terms? Are there rent increases? When do they have to tell you when they renew the lease? 6 months before? And or 90 days before. And when they are done and not going to renew, are they going to take any equipment out, or they're leaving everything as is? Also, find out how old is the building. If the building is more than 15 years old, and by the time they leave, let's say they're going to leave in 8 years or something, the building would be close to 20 some years old. Now you're going to have to retrofit everything: the kitchen, the plumbing, the electric. All this is going to cost you money to redo it. Now, the good news is inflation is here, so the replacement cost of the building is going to go up. But I can tell you that when I bought buildings with existing tenant, the only reason I did it was because the tenant had been in that building for so long. I'll give you an example. I had a tenant who was paying $8,000 a month for so long. They had 2 years left, and the owner, his wife, got sick, so he panicked. So he put it for sale. When I called him, I knew I could take that building and increase the rent to $15,000 a month. But his brain had stopped, because every conversation he had with them, hey, when the lease comes up, what do you think you're going to pay? And they started crying to him. Obviously, they're the tenant. They're going to tell him, oh, we'll pay you a lot more. They're saying, no, we're already paying you a lot of money. We can't even believe we're paying you $8,000. This is crazy. Maybe we'll just go up 3% or something. So I bought the building from him because he wanted to sell. He said his wife is sick or whatever. And we moved the tenant up. Today, that tenant is paying me $28,000. Of course, it's 16 years later. It's paying me $28,000 a month. Okay, and we're going to relocate them next year to another location. And they're going to pay more because they want this other location. And they're going to put a second brand that they have in that location. So if you're going to buy one just for steady income, I understand. Just make sure that income is going to be good enough for at least 8 years. And when that tenant that's paying you the income, making that payment, leaves, you will be able to find a good replacement tenant, because the location is good, and that put into consideration what you'll pay for the building as a retrofit. Hopefully you take advice on that.
Jump into commercial real estate discussion like these people. Apply for CRE Mastermind. Click the link in description.